Board. All right, well, welcome everybody to Reach and Read. My name is Katie and I work at the Sacramento Public Library where books are just the beginning. We're so happy to have you here for this program and to have local yoga instructor Kat Sun with us today. And we'll get to her in just a moment, but first I wanted to mention a few things. Here we go. So first is just some housekeeping, especially if it's your first time joining us for this program. So this is in a webinar format, so all participant microphones and video have been disabled. So if you have a question or comment, you can feel free to use the Q&A button that you'll find at the bottom of your screen, and either myself or Kat will get back to you. If you're having any audio related issues, please exit the program and re-enter. We find that doing that will typically solve that issue. And if you need closed captioning at any point during the program, please click the live transcript button. Again, you'll find that at the bottom of your screen. You'll click that button, wait just a moment, and then you'll see the closed captioning pop up and you can follow along. And this program is being recorded and will be shared to the virtual yoga playlist on our YouTube channel. And in case you're not familiar with it, our YouTube channel can be found just under Sacramento Public Library. And make sure to stick around after the yoga demonstration for this week's question to help you take your friendships to the next level. All right, and I'm going to just share that the Sacramento Public Library is actually a Healthy People 2030 champion, and this means that we're helping the community to lead healthier lives. And the CDC recommends that adults get 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity and 2 days of muscle strengthening activity per week. And getting or staying active can have great short-term and long-term benefits to your health. And you're about to get 45 minutes of movement, so you're on the right path. Kudos to all of you. More information can be found at health.gov/moveyourway. And of course, we have tons of health resources available at the library. Like I mentioned, we have past recordings of virtual yoga programs available on our YouTube channel. It's a really robust list, so you have many options there to choose from. We also offer a virtual Zumba program on Mondays at 5:30 and a virtual Zumba Gold program on Wednesdays at 4. And Zumba Gold is great for beginners and older adults to join. And we're doing a monthly journaling for mental health program, and that's at a few of our different locations throughout Sacramento County. So if you're into mindfulness practices, art journaling, that's a really great one to go to. And of course, you can check out a book about the benefits of exercise, mindfulness, and yoga from the library collection. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you and turn things over to Kat. So Kat, take it away, and everyone please enjoy.
Great. Thank you, Katie. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's staying warm and dry during these winter storms. We've got some sun today, so that's always a nice welcome. And today, as you all know, I'm offering this from home, so please excuse any extraneous sounds you might hear from my pets, my neighbors, my dad. There's a lot going on. And also, it's always good to have some yoga props. So I like to always have a yoga blanket, 2 blocks, and a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap at home, you can use a belt that you wear around your waist or a dog leash or anything to help extend your reach. If you don't have a yoga blanket, any kind of a firmer blanket or even a big beach towel can work. Just fold it up. And then today, as you all know, we've been working with this book about friendship that Katie shares with us at the end of each session. And we've been working with 10 questions. And today's question is, what broke you? So we'll just be exploring that concept a little bit today as we come into our practice together. So with that, let's take a moment, as always, to come onto our back. So I like to have a folded blanket for underneath my head as a little pillow. And then coming onto your yoga mat, if you've got a mat there or something that's a little padded. And coming onto your back. If it's comfortable for your legs to be straight, you can have your legs straight with the feet moving away from each other, palms open to the sky with the arms by the sides. But if this is not appropriate for your back, then maybe you would prefer to have your knees bent with your feet on the floor, in which case you can walk your feet a little bit wider apart and let the knees knock in to support each other. And this is easier on the low back. If having your arms out to the sides like this, you find your hands are hovering in the air, then go ahead and turn your palms down and just place your hands onto your body. And then whatever position you are comfortable in, let's just take a moment to arrive together. So as always, we take the first few moments together to just really land, to come into present moment awareness and begin to feel where we're at this morning, noticing how your body feels as you lay here on the floor. Take a moment to begin to notice your mental, emotional body as well. How are you feeling in that mental, emotional body this morning? And also beginning just to notice your natural breath as it moves in and out. So as you start to tune your awareness inwards, starting to cultivate that inner listening, cultivating the relationship with yourself here. Letting this practice be a place where you can begin to really tune in to the communication of the body, any communication of your inner guidance. So as you continue to breathe here, start to notice the expansion of the inhale and the slight gentle contraction of the exhale, beginning to ride the wave of your breath, feeling the expansion and the contraction, that pulsation of life that moves through you. So we're always breathing. Every moment we're alive, the breath is with us. And yet, most of the time we breathe unconsciously, and so we allow our emotions to affect the breath. But when we consciously start to bring awareness onto the breath, then we are able to flip that and we can start to, sorry, my dad's, we can start to shift the quality of the breath, and that in turn begins to shift the inner state. So just taking a few more moments with this nice, even, rhythmic breathing. Good. And then we're going to open our arms out wide into the T. If your legs are straight, go ahead and bend the knees, feet on the floor. Everybody walk your feet wider apart, so about mat width apart. Arms open out to the sides with the palms up. As you take a breath in, you're in neutral. And as you exhale, spin that head to the right and take a beat here. Keep your left arm heavy as you keep spinning your head to the right, and just breathe into the left side of your neck. Maybe you can feel the stretch into your left chest or down the length of the left arm. And then inhale, we bring it back up to neutral, and exhale, other direction. Head to the left, keep your right arm heavy. As you continue to spin your head to the left, feel maybe the stretch on the right side of your neck, across your right chest, maybe down the length of the right arm. Maybe you can feel it all the way down into the palm of the hand. And again, bring it back to neutral. Exhaling this time, head to the right, knees to the left. So knees and head are opposite directions. Inhale, we come up through center, and exhale, other direction. So just nice, gentle rocking. Head and knees moving in opposite directions, starting to feel this in the body. How does it feel? You're in control of how far you take the knees, how far you turn the head. So listening and being mindful, being kind and gentle with yourself. And just feel as the knees spin to the right. Feel that twist move up the spine, all the way up through the crown of the head. As the knees sway side to side, the head moves in opposite directions. And the next time you inhale, we bring it up to neutral. So I often like to start with this very gentle kind of warm-up. We're going to go ahead and bring our arms up to the sky and bend the elbows as we clasp the opposite elbows. Take a nice breath into neutral again, and as you exhale again, head to the right, take your elbows to the left, and pause here. Keep sliding the elbows to the left as you spin your head to the right. And feel that gentle stretch now, maybe going across the upper outer right arm. Maybe you feel the pressure against the right chest. Maybe you feel a bit of a stretch in the space between the right shoulder blade and the spine. Wherever you notice the sensation, just bring your awareness there as if you're breathing into it. And then back up through neutral as we inhale. Exhale, other direction. Head to the left, elbows slide to the right. And again, just take a pause. Breathe and feel here. Does it feel about the same as the first side? Is anything different? And again, back up through centered. Pause, look at your forearms and change the clasp so the other forearm is on top. Now we're going to go ahead and add a leg. So as you exhale, head and knees rock in the same direction. So head and knees to the right, elbows slide left. Inhale, bring it up through center. And exhale, other direction. Nice and easy. So as always, you can keep it nice and fluid, moving slowly, gracefully, nice and slow, enjoying the whole range of movement. Or if it feels good in your body and you want to pause on one side, you can pause and take a few rounds of breath. Just keep spinning your knees and head in the same direction as you slide your elbows in the opposite direction. Just a couple more cycles if you're moving up and down through it. If you're pausing on one side, make sure you switch sides and you get the second side as well. Good. Right, completing the set that you're on. And then the next time you inhale to neutral, let's pause. Keep the feet planted on the floor. And go ahead and bring your hands back onto your body. Your feet are nice and wide apart. Let the knees knock in. And just take a moment here and feel. So today's question is, what broke you? In life, we've all had moments where things didn't go our way or something unexpected happened. Maybe some big loss or some kind of tragedy. Moments where life really shakes us up. And in those moments, it's when we are kind of cracked wide open, where there's this opportunity for deeper transformation and growth. And in those moments, when you feel yourself being challenged and cracked wide open, do you allow yourself to feel, or do you just rush through it? So this practice helps us to cultivate this ability to really be present with whatever is showing up in the moment and to feel in order to integrate. So giving yourself plenty of time this morning to enjoy the pauses in between and to feel the effects of what we're doing. Okay, from here we're going to go ahead and hug our knees into our chest, and let's rock a little side to side. Massage your back into the floor. And again, rather than rushing, trying to get in lots of movements, see if you can slow it down so you really can feel the low back. Feel that sacral area. Maybe you can feel a bit of a stretch in those outer hips. And then we're going to keep the knees together, pressing the knees together with the hands on the outside of each knee. Keep the knees together now as you circle the knees as one big knee in the air. And again, see if you can slow down the circling in order to feel it a little bit more. So feel the massage at your low back, around your sacral area. And if you're like, what's the sacral area? The sacrum is this triangle bone at the base of the spine, right above your butt crease there. And oftentimes there might be some soreness or tenderness around it. So this is a nice way to kind of feel and massage into the area. If you haven't already, go ahead and change direction of the circle of your knees. Good. Next time your knees come to your chest, as always, we're going to circle in the hip socket. So now go ahead and press your knees away from your chest and then open them wide apart from each other. Keep them apart as you hug them in towards the armpit and then back to the center. So like that. You might first think about hitting the 4 points, like you're drawing a square. And then once you get that movement in, you can start to make it a little more fluid as you circle the knees, but now they're mirroring each other as we bring movement into those hip sockets. So again, just noticing how this feels in your body this morning. Every day is different. So tuning in to what's presenting itself right now. Whenever you're ready, again, switching direction, other direction with the circling of those knees. And then next time your knees come towards your chest, let's go ahead and split them into the armpits. So let your knees go wide apart from each other, as wide as is comfortable. And just hug them in towards your armpits and rock a little side to side here. Now you can just keep it like this, nice and gentle, hugging the knees into the armpits. Or for those of you who like to take happy babies, soles of the feet are going to point towards the sky, shins go perpendicular to the floor, and we're going to clasp behind the thighs, behind the knees, outer shins, outer ankles, or outer edges of the feet. So try to avoid letting your ego take over. So sometimes I see people reaching for the outer edges of the feet, but then the shoulders are off the floor, the back of the neck is scrunched, and the chin is jutting up over the forehead. So if that's happening for you, slide your hands down the leg so your shoulder blades can stay on the floor. Back of the neck stays nice and long, and your forehead and chin are about even level, or maybe the forehead a little bit higher than the chin. And then just rock a little side to side. So whether you're in happy baby or knees and armpit, just rocking a little bit more here. And then, as always, we're going to keep the right foot as we bring the left foot down. So here's where you might want to have your strap. I definitely recommend having something to help extend your reach. So we're going to take the strap onto the sole of the right foot, slide it towards the bottom of that arch, top of the heel, and then holding either side of the strap, we just press the leg up and down a few times so we're warming our way into that hamstring. A lot of times oftentimes people have issues with the low back, and tight hamstrings can contribute to that. So we're just easing our way into stretching out the hamstrings here. If you're ready, you can keep your foot lifted. If your foot is lifted, then really pressing up through the heel to lengthen the back line of the leg. Spread the sole of the foot, spread the toes, get your foot nice and bright. And then as always, we're going to open that leg out to the right. So this is where if you've got blocks and you want to use a block, you can bring it right to the outside of that outer right hip. And then you're going to hold both sides of the strap in the right hand, bring your left hand onto your left hip. And let's inhale, open that right leg out to the right. I like to let my right elbow ground so that I can slide my shoulder blades down the back body. And then here, pressing out through the inner heel and ball of the big toe. Think about peeling the pinky side of the foot back towards the outer hip. And let's bring the whole thing back up. As always, we switch sides. So I know I do the sequence a lot. I find it very helpful for people. So holding both sides of the strap in the left hand, I like to take the heel of the right palm and slide it right into the hip crease here. So get it right where the thigh and the torso meet. And gently press your thigh bone away from you. And then keep that slight pressure as you let your right foot stretch across the midline to stack it over the opposite hip. So right foot stacked over the left hip and breathing here. And then slowly, you can let that right foot cross to the left as we start to target stretching this outer IT band area. So maybe you feel sensation in the outer right thigh, outer right hip region. So nice and easy. And then bring the foot back up. From here, switch the hand back, the strap back into the right hand. Now, if you got that block on the side of the hip, you might move it out of the way a little bit. So holding the strap in the right hand, you're going to keep the sole of the right foot pointing up to the sky, keep the shin perpendicular to the floor, and excuse me, excuse me. You're working to bend that right knee towards the armpit. So you're just getting that right knee down towards the armpit as best you can. So for some, you might be up here and you're just kind of doing some little micro bends. For others, maybe you can get that knee way down onto the floor. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. You're exploring your edge in this position. So we're just working towards this. Is like a supine lunge almost. Now, if you're able to get that knee close in towards the armpit, then you can stretch that left leg long, pressing out through the heel, in which case that left inner thigh is rolling down towards the floor and the left foot is gently flexed. Now, if you're really still working with the knee here and you're just micro bending, then you might find it's much more accessible keeping the left knee bent with the left foot on the floor. All right, and then everybody, we're going to release the right foot out of the strap. We're all going to stretch the left leg long, and we're going to plant the right foot on top of the left thigh. Let's open our right arm out to the right with the palm up and take the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to roll to the left. So the right hip is going to come off the floor as you roll to the outer left hip. So we're coming into a twist. But do your best to keep your right shoulder, right arm heavy. And as your right knee spins to the left, think about spinning your belly button in your chest to the right. Hug that low back in towards the spine. And take a breath here in the supine twist. When you're ready, let's come back onto our back. We're going to interlace the fingers and hug the right knee in towards the chest. And then straighten both legs as you press the palms up overhead. So back of the hand is facing the crown of the head as you press your palms up overhead. Nice full body stretch. And we're going to release the hands and just take a moment. And again, allow yourself to feel and to integrate. Notice the changes in the body. How does it feel? Notice the difference from one side to the other. Maybe you feel some energy moving. Maybe there's a little bit of warmth, whatever it is. And then once you're ready, let's bend those knees one at a time, feet on the floor. And then again, hug your knees into your chest and rock a little side to side. From here, split those knees into the armpits and rock, keeping it like that or coming into happy baby again. From here, we're going to keep the left foot and release the right foot onto the floor. We're going to take our strap and slide it onto the sole of the left foot. Bring it down by the bottom of the arch, top of the heel. And again, bend and straighten that leg up and down a few times, especially if you're working with some tight or grumpy hamstrings this morning. Maybe one side's different than the other. So you're really just tuning in and feeling and honoring what you find, honoring what the body is communicating with you. You're welcome to keep it up and down, or if you're ready, you can keep the foot up. If you're keeping the foot up, again, press out through the back of the heel, lengthen the back line of the leg, spread the sole of the foot, spread the toes broad. Stack that ankle right over the hip there, and take a few rounds of breath here. If you use the block on the first side, you might want to grab your block and place it to the outside of that left hip, right up against the outer left hip there. And then taking both sides of the strap in the left hand, right hand is going to ground your right hip bone. And inhale, open your left leg out to the left, right out from the hip. And then again, once the leg is out, think about lengthening from the inner line. So pressing out from the inner knee down into the inner heel, ball of the big toe. Outer edge of the foot is like hugging back in towards you. And breathe here, stretching out the inseam of the leg. We'll bring the whole thing back up and we'll switch hands. So right hand holds both sides of the strap, taking the heel of the left palm and slide it into that hip crease and give yourself that little manual adjustment as you press your thigh bone away from you towards the bottom of the mat. And then keeping that slight pressure as you slowly let your left foot cross the midline, stack it over the right hip. And breathe here for a few beats. As best you can, keep pressing that heel up, keep that back line of the leg nice and long. And then slowly, little by little, you can let that left foot creep over to the right, breathing into what you find down the outer seam of that left thigh and hip. And then again, bring the whole thing up. From here, take the strap back in your left hand. Again, we're coming into half happy baby, second side. So sole of the left foot stays pointing up to the sky. Shin stays perpendicular to the floor as best you can. Bringing that knee towards the armpit. So not towards the chest, but out towards the side of the body, towards the armpit. And maybe you're just playing with a little micro bend and straightening, right? If the block is up against your outer hip, you might have to move it out of the way. And maybe for some, you're really able to get that knee all the way down towards the floor. So you're just seeing what is your range here. And again, check the ego. Make sure the ego is not running the show. Instead, you're really listening to your body and honoring it. And then if you're able to get into the deeper expression of this, then perhaps you want to straighten your right leg long by pressing the right heel away from you, flexing the foot gently. As you press up through the heel, let the inner right thigh, so let the right thigh roll towards the inner thigh down towards the floor. And then everybody, we're going to start to release our left foot out of the strap. We're going to straighten the right leg long if it's still bent. We're going to plant that left foot on top of the right thigh. Take your right hand to the outside of the left knee and take your left arm out to the left with the palm up. Keep that left shoulder and chest heavy as you start to let your left knee cross over to the right. You're rolling to the outer right hip as the left hip comes off the floor. So again, we're coming into a twist. Arch your low back in towards the spine as you keep that left arm and chest heavy. And now really reach out through the left hand, broaden through the chest, broaden through that palm. Think about spinning your belly button and your chest to the left away from the knee. Take a breath. Feel the twist. Notice how it feels to breathe in the twist. Okay, and then we roll back onto our backs. Interlace your fingers with the other thumb on top. And again, squeeze that knee in. And then a nice full body stretch. Press out long through the legs as you press your palms up overhead. Okay, from here, let's take the blanket out from behind the head. So move the blanket out of the way. Or whatever you have as a pillow under your head. And again, let's take our arms up towards the sky, interlace the fingers, and press the palms up. Show your shoulder blades down the back body and press your palms up towards the top. Nice full body stretch. Here, we're going to clasp the left wrist with the right hand. Both feet are lightly flexed, so the legs are still engaged. Inner thighs are rolling down. Now, go ahead and start to bend to the right. So you can walk your shoulders and your head to the right, but you're still keeping the torso and the face looking straight up towards the sky. So you're just bending to the right. And then you can use your right hand to slide that left wrist further to the right. You can keep your feet where they are, or with the feet lightly flexed, you might want to take little baby steps as you walk the feet to the right side as well, coming into more of a banana shape or a C shape. You can keep it like that, or if it's available, you can lift the left ankle and hook it over the right ankle. That's definitely more intense, so you're going to see whether or not that's appropriate. And then now breathe into the left seam of the body. Imagine you're fanning open your left ribs. You're breathing into the spaces in between the ribs. You're breathing into that left waist, left armpit, down the side seam of the left side. Okay, and then if your ankle's hooked, let's unhook it. And we're going to bring the whole thing back to neutral. And again, just take a moment back in neutral. Walk the hands and the head back to center. Walk the feet back to center. And just notice the difference from one side to the other. When you're ready, taking the second side. So clasp your left hand around your right wrist. And as you're ready, start to bend to the left. So use your left hand around the right wrist to bring the right wrist over to the left. Again, both shoulders stay on the floor. Face is looking straight up. Torso is looking straight up. Feet are gently flexed. And then keeping your feet where they are, or little baby steps down with the feet over to the left. And possibly lifting the right ankle and hooking it over the left. Whichever variation you're in, just pause and breathe. And again, in your mind's eye, see yourself fanning open the right ribs. See yourself breathing space and light into those muscles between the ribs, into the side waist there, down the side seam of the body. And then we'll uncross the ankle. If it's crossed, we'll walk everything back to center. And again, interlace the fingers and press your palms up overhead as you take a nice full body stretch through center. From here, arms down by the sides. Let's bend the knees, feet on the floor. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of core work since it's cold. We're gonna heat things up a little bit. So interlace your fingers behind your head and press those elbows down into the floor. Knees are bent, feet are about hip width apart. So as we inhale, press those elbows down into the floor, arch your low back off the floor, expand the front body, pressing the sacrum down into the floor. As you exhale, press your low back into the floor, let your tailbone curl up, and then lift the head as you bring the elbows towards each other. Inhale, broaden the front body. Low back arches off the floor. Exhale, low back down, curl it up. Good. Inhale, bring it back down. This time as you exhale, let your right elbow cross over to the left hip. Inhale through center. And exhaling other side. Inhale, again expanding the front body. Exhaling, curling up to the side. So moving with your own breath. Now the next time you exhale that right elbow to the left hip, if you like, you can lift the left foot and let the elbow and opposite knee touch. And then inhale, bring the whole thing back down, and exhale, other side. So you can keep it. You don't need to add the legs if that's not appropriate. You can add the legs if you like, or you can add on again. So next time the right elbow and the left knee come towards each other, you can actually send the right foot up to the sky and reach your right hand to the outside of the left hip. And bring it back down through center and other side. As the right leg lifts, you can send the heel up and reach your left hand to the right. So different variations. Listen to your body. Do what's appropriate for you this morning. Every day's different. Good. Let's just do one more set, whichever variation we're working with. One more set each side. Ensure you're still breathing. And the next time you come down, let's pause in the center. So again, inhale, arch your low back off the floor. And this time exhale, if you like, you can bring both feet off the floor. Let both elbows come towards each knee and bring it back down. Just two more through center. If you don't want to add the feet, then keep your feet on the floor. Last one, let's just curl it up. Exhaling. Inhale, bring the whole thing down. Release your hands out to the sides, palms up. Walk your feet a little bit wider apart with the knees bent. And again, windshield wiper your knees. Here we're going to stretch out our psoas or low belly area. Okay. And then we're going to roll over to one side and come on up. So, finding your seat. So maybe sitting up on your folded blanket if you like. So sit towards the front edge of your sit bone. Arch your low back in. Slide your shoulder blades down the back body. Let your buttock flesh slide down towards the back. In the front, gently hug your navel in and up. Feel your collarbones broaden. Let your heart be buoyant. And then can you also now notice where your kidney band, mid-back area, can you broaden through there? So rather than collapsing in that area, but also broaden and inflate the kidney band in the back. Grounding down as you lengthen up. Let the back of the neck, back of the skull slide up towards the sky as you gently let your chin drop ever so slightly. Take a beat here. Let's do some Ujjayi breath. So inhaling naturally through your nose. And as you exhale, bring your hand up to your mouth and haw it out like you're fogging a mirror. So again, inhaling natural. And exhale, fog the mirror. Good. So do that again. And as you fog the mirror with the exhale, notice how there's a slight constriction in the back of the throat to create the ha. Now, can you do that again, but this time close your lips and inhale naturally. And as you exhale, keep the lips closed as you fog the mirror. You'll hear kind of an oceanic sound. And again, do a few more times. Now, if you can maintain that slight constriction at the back of the throat as you inhale as well, and exhale. So starting to create this oceanic sound with the breath. So some people really get into this and they can overdo it and they start to sound like Darth Vader, from Star Wars. So you don't have to be quite that intense about it, just loud enough so you can hear your breath. So can you stay with this Ujjayi breath? It's a slightly warming breath. And it's a sound that then can accompany you as we start to add movement again. So with your next inhale, staying with your Ujjayi breath, sweep your arms out and up overhead. As you exhale, staying with the Ujjayi breath as you pull the hands down your midline, grounding it down into earth. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, rise. Exhale down the center. Last time, inhale, rise. And this time, exhale, bring your hands down in front of your heart. Let your thumbs gently press against the sternum as you gently press the palms into each other. Again, shoulder blades slide down the back body. Take a moment here to tune into the heart center. Feel yourself at the heart center. And then we'll bow the head to the heart. We'll release the hands. Again, inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Keep your right arm lifted. Exhale, left fingertips come onto the floor. Ground down through your right sit bone. And exhale, tip it to the left. That's Yoshi. He's just checking it out. Good. Inhale, sweep it back up, staying with that Ujjayi breath. Exhale, right fingertips come down. Ground down through the sit bone as you reach up on that inhale. Exhale, tip it to the right. Inhale up through center. Exhale, spin open to the left as you bring both hands down. Inhale, pulse up through center. Exhale, spin to the other side. Good. Inhale, up again. This time, opening to the left again, both hands down. We're going to pause and breathe. So as you ground down through the sit bones, arch the low back in. Shoulder blades down the back body. Heart buoyant. Spin your heart back. Spin the navel back, the heart back, the gaze back. And then inhale. Let's bring it up to center. And exhale, other side. Again, take that first inhale to ground and lengthen. And with the exhale, start to spin yourself over that center axis, looking back behind you. Another big breath in and full breath out. And then let's unwind. Inhale, arms up. Palms together. Exhale, bring it down. Okay, from here, let's go ahead and come on. Let's come on to hands and knees first. We'll just do a few cat-cows to warm up our spine. So if you have sensitive knees, you might want to have some extra padding with your blanket. Some people like to use those gardening pads for the knees. If you're ready to put pressure onto your hands, you can broaden through the palms. If this is too much for the wrist, you can make fists and put the knuckles down instead. If you are putting palms down, take a moment to ground the ball of your index finger first. So get that point of the palm down first. Keep it grounded and then ground the ball of your thumb mound. Keep those 2 points connected to the earth and then spread the palm to get the other 3 finger mounds down. And then from there, let's go ahead. Shoulders are stacked over the wrists, hips are stacked over our knees. As we inhale, we broaden the sit bones and slide them up towards the sky. The belly naturally hammocks down, but can you keep your navel still hugging up towards the spine? Chest forward, chin up, look up. Exhale, reverse. Tailbone down, kidneys inflate up, chin towards the chest, crown of the head towards the floor. So closing the eyes if you like. Otherwise, soften your gaze as you pulse in and out through cat-cow. Inhaling, we arch into cow pose. And exhaling, we round up into cat pose. Staying with the Ujjayi breath if you can. Nice, fluid, oceanic breath. Nice and gentle. Letting the sound of your breath be your companion through your practice this morning. Good. Now the next time you inhale, let's just bring it to neutral spine. We're going to walk our hands forward. So we're coming towards downward dog arms. So still nice big palms, broad. Ground the ball of the index finger and thumb. Keep your hips still stacked over your knees. Reaching your arms forward. And then spin the hands in towards each other, but spin your upper arms away from each other. And then let your head hang between your arms as you bring your forehead towards the floor. Maybe it touches the floor, maybe it doesn't. But keep the action through the arms, like you're lifting the underbelly of the wrists up towards the sky still. And then you can keep it in puppy pose, or for those of you who like, if it's available, you can start to sink your hips towards the heels, coming into child's pose. In which case, let your forehead rest onto the floor or maybe a block. We're going to come up to hands and knees. And we're going to start to slide our hips forward. Keep your shoulders stacked over the wrists as you slide your hips forward, coming into half plank. So torso and thighs now on one line like a nice plank. Think about lengthening your tailbone towards the floor, but then those inner thighs roll up towards the sky. The navel hugs up towards the spine, and the sternum hugs up into the shoulders. So everything's hugging up except the tailbone's moving down. Now keep all of that, and you're going to hug your elbows in towards each other as you slowly lower all the way to your belly. Hands are resting by the heart, forehead down. Press the toenails into the floor. As you press your toenails into the floor, feel your legs activate. The kneecaps might lift off the floor. Keep that action. Gently hug the outer ankles in. Lengthen your tailbone long as you spin your inner thighs up. So outer ankles in, inner thighs rolling up to the sky, and then tailbone long into that space. Keep all of that. Shrug your shoulder blades down the back body, lifting the heart. Keep the back of the neck long, mini cobra. So gaze is down and slightly forward. Do not crunch the back of the neck. Back of the neck is nice and long. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale, lower your forehead down. We're coming into that a couple more times. So again, reestablish the legs. Press those toenails down. Activate the legs. Outer ankles in. Inner thighs roll up. Tailbone long. Press down through the front of the pubic bone. Shrug your shoulder blades down the back body, lifting the heart, back of the neck long. Gaze down and slightly forward. And now, just see if you can lift a little bit higher and breathe. Notice how it is to breathe here. Again, maybe it's a little more challenging, just like when we're in a twist. Okay, and then again, exhale, bring it down. We're coming up one more time. When you're ready, activate those legs, lengthen that tail, shrug the shoulder blade down the back. Keep lengthening the tail to keep your low back long. Inhaling, rising up. And this time, notice where your heart is in the space. And keep the height of the heart, but take your hands just half inch off the floor and hover. And now without the hands, can you lift a little bit higher through the heart? Breathe. And exhale, bring it back down. We're going to press back up onto hands and knees, and either to puppy pose here or hips to the heels in child's pose. Take a breath. Okay. And then let's come back up onto hands and knees. So hands and knees now. Curl your toes under. Curl your toes under. Inhale, arch into cow. As you exhale, round into cat, look to your navel, and then lift your knees just a couple of inches off the floor and hover. Hug everything up towards the spine. Again, inhale, bring your knees down, come through cow, and exhale, round up into cat and lift those knees maybe a little bit higher. Inhale, bring it back down through cow. And this time, keep your sit bones broad and lifted like in cow pose. But as you exhale, you're going to send your hips up and back as you start to press back into downward dog. So pressing back to straighten the legs. We're going to pulse in and out a few times. So bend the knees, bring it back down, come through cow pose. As you inhale, shoulder blades move away from the ears, sit bones broad. Keep your sit bones broad, keep the navel hugging up towards the spine. Again, exhale, send those hips up and back, press it back, downward dog. Last time, bring it back down, inhale, through cow. Keep the navel hugging up now. So if you just hammock it down, the whole thing collapses. So keep the navel hugging up, but keep your sit bones broad. And again, send it up and back, downward dog. And now in downward dog, maybe bend one knee, then the other. So if downward dog's not appropriate for you on the floor, you can always come to a wall instead and just have your hands on the wall. And then walk your feet away from the wall. Let your arms slide down about shoulder height. And do it at the wall. But if you're able to be on the floor, then again, everybody ground the ball of the index and thumb mound. And then let's bend one knee, then the other, walk the dog a little. And then walk your feet a little bit wider apart from each other. You're going to start to walk your hands back towards the feet. And if you're working at a wall, then just turn around instead, and you can put your butt on the wall, and you can forward fold here. Have your feet a little bit, like about a foot and a half away from the wall if you're at the wall, and feet a little bit wider apart, and then you can forward fold with your butt on the wall. If you walk back from downward dog at the floor, then you're here. Everybody keep your knees still lightly bent if you need, clasping the elbows, and just sway a little side to side. And then from here, let's go ahead and rise, rise, rise. We're coming up to standing. Okay, so let's find ourselves in a standing position. Take a moment just to get your feet right underneath your hips. Or you can even bring the big toes together, heels slightly apart if you like. But just feet hip width is also good. Take a moment and look at your feet. So sometimes we have habit patterns in our body. So if you find like one foot is in front of the other, or one foot's kind of torqued out and the other, just take a moment and look down at your feet. And can you get your feet even with each other and parallel with each other? So outer edges of the feet parallel, or from center of the index toe to center of the heel, more or less, the lines are about parallel. Just feel how that feels in your body. And then standing on your feet now, take a moment to really feel the feet on the floor. Notice where your weight is on your feet. Do you tend to lean in, lean out, rock forward, rock back? Just noticing. Okay, and then let's all go ahead and ground the ball of the big toe. Feel the ball of the big toe in the inner heel. Feel those two inner points of the feet on the floor. Maybe you can even lift the outer edges of the feet off the floor a little bit. Spread the toes nice and broad. Keep the toes spreading, and then ground the ball of the pinky toe in the outer heel as you let your toes come down towards the floor. Keep your legs, your feet active. Keep pressing down through the 4 points of the feet and lift the inner arches of the feet. Lift the inner ankles of the feet. Lift the inner knees. And as you get up to your inner thighs, roll those inner thighs back. As you do so, you'll feel the softening in the inner groin area, and you feel a broadening in the sacral area in the back. Keep the broadness back there, but pin your tailbone straight down into the earth. Maintaining all of that. So it's a lot of information. Just take what works, take and leave the rest. Now hug those outer shins in towards each other. And then the inner thighs, press them away from each other. So outer shins in, inner thighs out. Counter action. And then the bones we sit on, our sit bones, slide the sit bones in towards each other. Mm-hmm. And now from pubic bone and tailbone come slightly in towards each other. Bring your awareness to the perineum, the space between the anus and the genital. And can you gently pluck the perineum up? It might just be an intention, right? You're like, what, the para what? So anyways, just see if you can bring your awareness to the space at the pelvic floor and gently pluck it up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. As you do so, the belly naturally hugs in and up a little bit. Shoulder blades down, standing nice and tall in Tadasana in your mountain pose. Feel yourself steady. And from here, let's inhale, sweep our arms out and up. Still working with our Ujjayi breath. Exhaling, we'll swan dive. Bend the knees as you need. Hands can come onto your thighs or your shins. Lift that heart up halfway. Elongate the front of the spine as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Ground down through the feet, pressing down to rise. Bring it all the way up. Inhale. Palms touch at the top. Again, exhale, swan dive. Halfway lift as we inhale. Fold as we exhale. Ground to rise. Inhale, bring it all the way up again. Palms touch. Last one. Exhaling, diving through, like you're diving through water. Halfway lift as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Ground down to rise again. Rise, rise, rise. This time as you get to the top, clasp your left wrist with your right hand. Ground down through the left foot and exhale, tip it to the right. Up through center, switching sides. Ground down through that other foot and tip it to the left. Back up through center. This time we're going to open, twist to the left, look back at that left thumb. Inhale, come up through center, and exhale, open to the right. Again, bring the whole thing up, and exhale, hands down in front of the heart. Good. And then let's just bring our hands down. Let's take a big shoulder circle. So shoulders come forward, up, back, and down. Good. And then from here, let's inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, bring your left fingertips down and just point them away from you. Nice long line. Point those fingertips away at a slight angle away from you. And then bend your right elbow and bring your right hand to the left side of your head and gently tilt your head to the right. Breathe into the left side of the neck, down the length of the left arm. And then you're going to just take that right hand off the head and bring it to the right side of your face and help your head up. Big shoulder circle. Again, inhale, sweep your arms out and up again. Keep your left arm lifted. Exhale, bring your right hand down. Point the fingertips away from you at an angle. Nice long line. And again, bending that left elbow. Bring your left hand to the right side of the head. And exhale, tip your head now to the left. Reach the right fingertips down and away. And then take that left hand off the head. Bring it to the left side of your face and help your head up. Good. And again, big shoulder circle. Okay. And from there, we're going to come down to a seat. You're welcome to come into Shavasana if you like. We only have 45 minutes together, so oftentimes we don't get into real Shavasana, a resting pose, but feel free to take a resting pose on your back with the pillow under your head, maybe something supporting you under your knees, a blanket to cover you, or you can come into a resting pose in a seated position. And I'm going to turn things back over to Katie. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Kat, for another wonderful session. That was really great. Well, did you know that having strong friendships is beneficial to your health? Having friends can lower your stress and decrease your risk of heart issues. This series of Reach and Read is focused on self-love, compassion, and openness to help grow your skills to be a better friend. We're using the book Share Your Stuff, I'll Go First 10 Questions to Take Your Friendships to the Next Level by Laura Tremaine as a guide. The next question posed in this book is what broke you? Laura says that while it's normal to acknowledge our brokenness, we don't need to talk about it much, and we definitely don't want to lead with this question early on in a friendship because it's so deep. There's an expectation in our culture to pick up and move on, that no one is really allowed to wallow because there's so much to do. We have to just keep marching on. Laura shares that she's seen time and time again people diminish their own brokenness in deference to someone else. She says the result is millions of people stuffing their cracks with coping mechanisms instead of experiencing true healing. Sometimes we can't quite articulate why something cut us to the core. Sometimes it's clear that events are traumatic, and sometimes the things that break us are the result of actions that build up over time. All of it is valid, and it is important to work through and talk about these things. Laura shares some tips for when and how to share your broken stuff. She says, consider the setting or environment in which you share. You don't want to set yourself up for disappointment because your friend was distracted, say at a group play date with kids or at a busy restaurant. You're also not required to be objective when talking about being broken, as she puts it. You don't have to give further explanation about your trauma. Your friend can fill in the blanks about what is not being said. She also says to be a good listener when someone is sharing their stories of brokenness with you. Be gentle with yourself after you've shared. Vulnerability hangovers are real, and give yourself grace after you've had a really hard conversation. Laura says that sharing your most broken places isn't easy, but healing happens when you let yourself be seen. So, what broke you? Thank you again for joining us for Reach and Read, and a big thank you to Kat. We'll be back next Thursday, March 9th at 10 a.m., so we hope to see you then. To find a library location near you, sign up for a library card, or to learn about upcoming programs for all ages, just go to www.saclibrary.org. So for Kat, myself, and the Sacramento Public Library, thank you so much and be well.